Okay, I got a video here, kind of a tip thing. And this is something I've never seen before. So this is the 372. I noticed the other day I pressure vacuum tested it. Came up, had a very small enough to where I wasn't afraid to run it. Vacuum leak, or not vacuum leak, pressure leak. So it was on, tested everything, base gasket turned out fine, everything turned out fine, carburetor, intake boot, flywheel side, crank seal was good. Clutch side was bad, had a very small leak. Here's the original. It was not leaking around the crankshaft, it was leaking around the outer metal edge. I think probably what happened is I drove it in too far when I put the seal in, just a little bit too far. Got that out, had two new ones, just ordered some spares. Put the new one in, and when you put in your new crankcase or your seals on the clutch side, one thing you have to have in place to pressurize and vacuum, you have to have your oil pump in place, because the oil pump screws that hold the oil pump on go to the crankcase, and if they are out, you cannot draw pressure or vacuum. If you leave the oil pump off and put the screws in, they don't like to tighten down and seal real good. You'll get bubbles come out and around the screws. So it's a good idea to tighten the oil pump back on. And then there's this, it's a collar. Yeah, I guess it is kind of. It's like a sleeve. It's what the worm gear sits down on the inside. The crankshaft isn't the right diameter for this worm gear's inner diameter, so there's a little sleeve that goes down on there, sits on there. Anyways, that collar recesses down in the seal a little bit, so you need to make sure that's in, make sure it's down on there all the way. You can take a little socket and tap it on there. There's a washer, this one, that goes on top of there and sits on top of the seal. Leave that off for the time being so you can see. So we got our hooked up here, sealed off, we're hooked into the impulse line. So we'll go and spray a little bit of soapy water in here. This is the best way. So you'll get this to bubble, and we'll get to what I've never seen before. So put some pressure on it. You can see we got bubbles. Those bubbles are coming not from the seal. The seal sealed up fine. It's sealing fine. These bubbles right here are coming. Let me get my air and blow these off. I don't know. I'll see if you all can see here. I'll swear just a little bit. Okay. If you all can see, they're coming from that collar. Is what they're coming from. So where this collar slides over the actual crankshaft, there's just a, I mean, if they fit on there fine, there's just a very small, just a very small gap, I guess, and it's leaking around there. If I put a little bit more pressure on it, here, you'll be able to see. You can see right where they come out. They just come out right around that little gap. That's how you, by the way, also check for pressure leaks. If you have a leak, you can see them kind of bubbling right there. You can just see it bubbling right there. It's just leaking out around that gap. So apparently, probably what's going to have to happen is, you can see there again, probably what I'll end up doing is, it's enough of a vacuum or pressure leak that I'll pump it way up here, and you can see how quick it falls. It falls really quick, same way a vacuum. So it is, I checked everywhere else passes, base gasket, flywheel side, like I said, all that passes, everything's fine. I just can't get why the one that's leaking right here, like I said, my seal, if I go and kind of blow some of this, I'll blow that off. my seal down in here, you can see that blue in there, that seal, it's sealed fine. Everything's sealed on it. It's not leaking at all. It's just that one little collar it's leaking. And it's not even leaking around that collar down inside where the seal is. It's just right up here to the top is where it's leaking. So, I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to fool with. It might be that collar is worn and it has just enough air room to let some pressure out in there, is what it might be. You know, you're only pumping it up to 10 psi when you pressure vacuum test, so it bleeds down quick. But this collar here might be worn, or I don't know. I mean, it comes right out. I mean, there, that collar's out. And you can see there's the collar. See, there's a little, if it'll focus here. Come on. Probably not going to focus. There it goes. There's a little lip right there. That lip is what sits down in the seal, and then the air is just escaping up in there. If I squirt some water down in here with that out and pressurize it, you'll see it just see where it does there. It just comes out around the seal. So you have to have that collar in there, but you know, I just set this down on there, put it on there tight. I just take a socket, put it over the crankshaft, take a hammer, and just tap it down on there. There it's seated. And then we'll go and spray a little bit of soap on it, pressurize it, and see. And there we go again. Coming out around that collar. Huh. So that's something to kind of watch out for. Is, you know, watch out for your crank seals, base gasket, intake boot, main crankcase gasket. Watch for your decompression valve. Watch for spark plug. Spray it around when you seal these off with these rubber seals that you put in here to pressure vacuum test it. The rubber flaps. Spray it around there, because sometimes I've had trouble with my muffler sealing up when I put my muffler back on with the rubber behind it here. I've had trouble with them not sealing. They'll leak out the muffler, and there's no seal there or anything. You know, you don't have to worry about that in running. But when you try to pressure vacuum test it, it'll come up with a pressure leak or a vacuum leak. But it could be nothing in the motor. It could just be, you know, you didn't seal it up good enough. Same way with the carburetor. I've had them leak a couple times on the carburetor right here where the intake boot is, and you know, it's nothing with the saw, and it won't affect anything. You know, especially if it's on the exhaust, it wouldn't affect anything, but it'd make it look like there's a pressure leak and a vacuum leak. But that's something just to watch out for. So thanks for watching.